Thank you for joining us today, Sam. We wanted to spend a few minutes just really to reflect on the past year. It's been a remarkable year for sure. The theme of this issue of the HCA Healthcare magazine is really what it means to go to work. So when you think back a year ago, the pandemic was just on the horizon. How were you preparing the organization to get to work on it?
So this time last year, we were experiencing very little COVID in the country and very little COVID inside of HCA. It was starting to heat up in Seattle, I think, and it started to heat up in San Jose, California, where we saw one of our first patients. And so we weren't sure exactly what was going to materialize, so the company was still functioning as it normally would function, but we had been preparing. We had actually started doing some early preparations for what I'd actually read in a paper, and I emailed or texted John Perlin, who is our chief medical officer, and I said, John, what's this and what do we need to think about? And it's a little bit like Ebola. When Ebola first hit and what was going on, we started doing some early preparations, but I wasn't fully apprised of the completeness of our preparation until about this time, or maybe a little bit even after this. And I think it was March 13th when we sort of shut the company down, if you will, in compliance with many government requirements. But it was a lot of early preparations, but as we got deeper into the first stage of COVID, our preparations accelerated and our impressions of what were going on were changing and required us to make adjustments. And so we've been adjusting throughout all of this period of time, and we're still making a few adjustments with respect to how we're handling COVID-19. But it was a lot of early preparations at that point, clinical protocols, education, some understanding of what it might mean to our facilities and so forth. And that's what was happening.
You mentioned the adjustments, and I think pivot might just be the word of the year last year, maybe that along with unprecedented, and never before have we seen this. But when you think about those adjustments and the pivots, what were some of the more significant ones you think we made after March 13th?
Well, I think for us, we established two clear objectives that we wanted to keep our eyes on, keep our focus on, revolve our decision-making around it, and so forth. And those two objectives were to keep our people safe and then protect the organization. And that actually clarified a lot of things. And yeah, we pivoted to those two objectives specifically. And I think the pivot to those two objectives allowed us to make decisions to, again, allocate resources and execute whatever initiative we wanted to execute around those two objectives. So the pivot was more around, we've got to protect our people, our physicians, our colleagues, our caregivers, so that they could be there for our patients if in fact we had the early forecasts that people were expecting with COVID, which were quite sobering in March and April, around how many people could possibly be infected by this particular situation in this virus. So I think we slowed down a lot of the growth initiatives, we slowed down capital initiatives, we slowed down other technology implementation initiatives, and all of that was to orient the company to the two objectives we wanted to achieve as we went through this. And I think that clarity forced a lot of pivots, but those pivots became people working on the two objectives in ways that maybe they didn't work in the past, and it allowed us to go through this whole pandemic, I think, with success when I look back on it. So I'm proud of what our team's accomplished.
Should be. So you talk about slowing down, basically slow down to go fast, right? On the things that we had to focus on. I'm hearing now a lot about COVID speed. And there were things that we put into place during the pandemic at quote unquote, COVID speed. How do you think we can sustain that going forward? And which objectives would you like that sustained on?
Well, it's interesting. I've been asked this question before. And in your normal day-to-day activities, everything feels routine. There's dynamics in whatever it is you do for the company. And for me, there was a lot of things coming at me, a lot of stimuli, if you will. Opportunities to grow, issues with physicians, quality initiatives, competitors, government, whatever. All of that slowed. And in many respects, for me, the world slowed down during that period. But when we focused on the two objectives, we were focusing on what do we need to do to speed up making sure we can deliver on those two objectives. So how we used our supply chain, how we made decisions as a team, how we collaborated across functional areas. All of those areas allowed us to speed up. And then how do we move it to the field, into our facilities and so forth with a pace. And what happened is our organizational structure between what our hospitals and facilities were doing, what our divisions were doing, and what the corporation was doing at this level, were all connected. And in that fashion, I hope we can continue to keep the structure in place, that we can make a big company small when it comes to the really important things that we're trying to deliver. So when we have a great clinical solution, and we have them all over the company all the time, where we have a facility develop a great solution to a clinical agenda, I would like to see us translate that to all of our facilities at the pace that we did this past year. That's hard to do because it involves our physicians, it involves different facility capabilities and so forth. But I think the lessons inside of what we learned this past year are really geared toward our organizational processes and how we use those, our collaboration, and then realizing that if something's important, we're going to move on it as quickly as we possibly can. So that's what I think will happen. It's easy to say everybody wants to go at COVID speed, but most organizations, not just healthcare organizations, slowed down to a few objectives. And there are management lessons, I think, and leadership lessons in making sure you have the right priorities and you have a true north. And I think for our company, our true north is making sure our patients get the care they deserve. And anything we can do to speed up decision-making or resources or systems to promote that, then I would like to see us go at the pace we went this past year.
So there's a lot to be proud of what the organization and our people achieved last year. What rises to the top in your mind?
Well, I'm most proud of our employees and our colleagues and what they did. I went for a period of time where I didn't get to go visit a hospital for probably 90 days. That's the longest in my career. And I was eager to go, but I knew everybody was preparing and responding to COVID at that point. So after about 90 days, I couldn't take it anymore, and I started going to visit our facilities. And I think I visited maybe 40, 45 hospitals in 120 days. And it was incredible what our people were accomplishing. Their professionalism, their compassion, their competence, their confidence. It was inspiring for me and humbling for me, but it also was more motivating for me to come back and try to figure out how do I do my job better so that our colleagues out in the facilities can accomplish what they need to accomplish and ultimately help deliver the kind of patient care that we want. So I think that's the first thing I would say, and I think that's who we are as an organization. Our people step up and deliver when they need to, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's a snowstorm in Texas that we just experienced, whether it's a mass casualty event. Our company, our culture, our mindset is, hey, we've got to get this done because people depend on our organization. The communities depend on our organization. Patients depend on our organization. Our physicians depend on our organization. Our families depend on it. And I think there's a culture and a value set in our organization that, hey, well, let's just figure out how to do it and do it the right way and move on to the next situation that we need to address. And I think that's general for most healthcare workers. They have to deal with issues all the time. But I think in particular in our company, it's something I'm very proud of.
You mentioned the winter storms in Texas that occurred last week. What did the company do to respond to that, and how did that all turn out?
So in any potential natural disaster, we go through a series of planning processes, and we're pretty good at that because we've been through a lot of hurricanes and other situations over the years. And so we had done our planning. This situation turned out to be a little different than some of the hurricanes and floods that we had experienced in the past, which were mostly regionalized. This turned out to be an event that affected roughly 60 hospitals at the same time, where we lost basic infrastructure with electricity and water and boilers and fire suppression systems and all those kind of things. So it was actually a very anxious week, given that 60 hospitals, all of which were busy, taking care of COVID patients and others, and all this infrastructure goes down. Well, our teams, again, in the facilities, at the corporate level, at the regional level, powered through this event, which was the largest single natural disaster event we had ever had, on the heels of COVID, and on the heels of the largest surge that we had had during the COVID period, December and January, and we had to deal with this. But within the period of the storm week, we were back operational at every institution in Texas, save one or two outpatient facilities that had some damage that we really didn't control because we leased the buildings. So it was a remarkable feat on the part of all aspects of the company, and was just another situation where I think HCA Healthcare stepped up, used its enterprise capabilities, used the values that we have about, we've got to deal with what's in front of us regardless of what it is, and here we are. It's behind us.
It's pretty awesome when all those pieces work together and you see that happen, for sure. Fast forward to now. I wouldn't say the pandemic's behind us by any means, but we're starting to look forward. So when you think about the company and our initiatives and our people moving forward in 2021 and beyond, where do you see us going? Where do you see that we need to focus?
I think our mission is going to remain the same, and I think our core strategy is going to remain the same. I think the opportunities for us as an organization, as I look forward to, let's just say, the next decade, is to introduce technology into our facilities in a totally different way, in a way that's more advanced, more analytical, and more supportive of the delivery of care in our facilities. Today, our people do a great job. They adapt to the technology that we have, but it's not as advanced as it needs to be. So I see technology as creating an opportunity for us to deliver better care to our patients, help our physicians, help our caregivers, make us more efficient, all of those kind of things that we're constantly striving to do. So that's the first thing. The second thing is partnerships. I think we have a unique opportunity because of the size of our company to embrace partnerships and work with other organizations that have skill sets or capabilities that we don't, and bring them into our organization in a way that helps us accomplish our mission, accelerate certain initiatives, and so forth. So I see partnerships as that way. And then I see growth, and that's great for our colleagues and the opportunities that they have, where they have the opportunity to grow with the organization. But we can only do that if we continue to focus on our mission and we continue to deliver high quality care, because we will lose our position in our communities, if you will, if we're not able to sustain that. But I think technology, I think partnerships, and I think growth will create the opportunities for the next decade. I think also one thing that people don't fully understand about HCA Healthcare is how large of an educator we are. And I see education playing a bigger part in that. We're the largest educator of physicians in the country. Our graduate medical education program has more residents than any other organization in the country. I think in 3 to 5 years, we'll be the largest educator of nurses with our acquisition of the Galen School of Nursing. And then I think the ongoing education of our leaders, of our clinical education programs that we have, create opportunities for people to be better at what they do, and then at the same time create their own growth profile. So the fourth thing would be education. I'm excited about that.
Let's turn personal a little bit. So when you are old and gray and talking to your grandkids, what are you going to tell them about this year, from a personal standpoint, from what the world was like?
Well, my sons think I'm old and gray right now, so maybe I'm not as gray as they think. This past year was a learning experience for me. I told our leadership team at the first call that I had with the company that, I didn't really want this either, but it's sort of what you sign up for, unfortunately, when some event like this happens. It stretched me in ways that when I look back, I'm not sure I thought I could handle them. And I think I handled them reasonably well. But it forced me to be out in front more, which is needed in a crisis. So I've learned that communication is critical so people understand our purpose, what we're trying to accomplish, how we're going to go about accomplishing it, and what's your individual role in connecting to that. And I think that's very important in our company today, that we have those components in place from one facility to the other. But it's made me more proud of who we are as an organization, and it's made me understand what we can ultimately accomplish in the future if we continue to focus on doing the right thing. So I don't know that it's going to be anything other than it was a difficult period, a very stressful period in some respects, but it was one that I learned from as a CEO, and hopefully it makes me a better CEO this year than I was last year.
So if you were to leave our colleagues and our physicians who are watching this with one message about last year and how we're moving into this year, what would that one message be?
Well, I'd like to thank them for everything they've done. I mean, they have delivered for each other. They've delivered for the patients. They've delivered for the community, and I would just like to thank them. And I think, I know people are tired and fatigued. We hear that word a lot, and I can appreciate that because our organization hasn't gotten to be on the sidelines for the most part. We have some people working from home, clearly a lot of people, but most of our employees and most of our colleagues and physicians are in our facilities working, and they didn't get any time off. And so I'm hopeful that they can find ways to decompress and then ultimately recharge, because I do think we're going to see a lot of demand for healthcare because many patients have been sitting at home afraid to come to hospitals and surgery centers and other places. And so we're going to be needed as we always are. And so I hope they can recharge their batteries and come back ready to do what they've been doing, which is deliver great care.
Well, gratitude is a great note to end on. And with that, I'd like to thank you, and I know that all of our colleagues would like to thank you as well for the leadership. It's been an incredible honor to work for this company during this time. And so thank you very much, Sam, for joining us today and for all you do.
Well, thank you.